Hi, team. This is George. We have another fantastic week ahead of us. This week, we're looking at habits, and habits are a big thing because habits are what basically build our character. So, in this week, our discussion, we're looking at Chapter 6, Bad Habit. Think about the habit or think about a habit that you have or somebody else you know have, and think about how operant conditioning can break it. Think of operant conditioning as a purposeful way to create habits. So we can create habits to break a habit. So if you think of it from that perspective, it may help you along the different discussions and things like that we're having. So let's jump in. I want to talk a little bit about it, about habits. And in Proverbs 4:25, we learn keep your eyes focused on what is right and look straight ahead to what is good. So it's very important where we look in life. It's very important how we look and where we look because we tend to find what we're looking for. I know you've probably heard that before, and that is very true in psychology. If we're focused on one thing, that's what we're going to find. So if we're focused on solutions and good stuff in the world, guess what we're going to find? We're going to find solutions and the good stuff that we're looking for. So I want to try a couple things this week to hopefully make it a little interesting. So, whoops. Okay. I kind of messed up my slides, but that's okay. So you have 10 seconds, and I'll count them out, and I want you to think of all the things that you see in this. 10. Now, a typical adult, because of our schema, we see 2 to 6 things because we have all of our past history and everything behind us, and we try to make sense of this. Whereas if we look at it from the child's perspective, guess what we see? Kids can see 10, 15, 20 different things. So I want us to kind of challenge ourselves to look at things from a fresh perspective, a kid's perspective, if you will. When we purposefully search out for new perspectives, guess what we find? We find new perspectives. So to help us along that way, now what do you see? You should be able to see more. Some people see a ship, but that kind of makes sense, right? Kids will see things like spaghetti dinner, where an adult will say, oh, that's a cliff right here. They'll see this one area right here is a cliff, where a kid, they'll say spaghetti dinner, mountain, ocean, all kinds of different things. It's a computer, it's a book, it's whatever it might be. And it can absolutely pertain to nothing that it is that makes sense. So we need to think of it. We need to think of our new perspectives that way. So let's look at things that'll kind of stretch our schema because we've been talking about schema through our whole time together. So where is your focus? Because that matters. Remember, back in the Proverbs, we talk about where your focus is matters. So I want to challenge everybody during this class to think about where your focus is. Is it to help? Is it to find things? Where is your focus? And when people say focus from a psychological perspective, that all that means is where are you placing your attention? Are you placing your attention on all the negative things in life, all the positive things in life? Are you looking for solutions? Because if you tend to be looking for issues and problems, we're going to find them. So we have to be careful where we put our focus or our attention, because if we are finding a lot of issues and problems, we need to switch our focus over to solutions so we can find solutions for those issues and problems that you see. So sometimes we have to switch back and forth depending on you. I'm not trying to tell anybody where to put their focus, because that's different for all of us. So sometimes we have to switch our focus. Okay, I'm looking for, X problem to solve, or I saw this problem, so now I'm going to put my focus on fixing it. So things like that. So the challenge for this week and beyond is purposefully place your focus where it matches your gifts, because we all have gifts and we need to place our focus. And sometimes our gifts are malleable or they can shift. So let's take a look at where our focus is and put it in that direction where it does the most good. That's my challenge. And that is so different for each one of us. So I look forward, if anybody wants to share where their focus is, I would love to hear it if anybody would like to share it. Okay, now the reason why focus is important is because the world will try to lead your thoughts. Don't allow it. the world, the social media, news, everybody, they're going to try to lead your thoughts because everything comes with a perspective. So here's a fun thing that I want to try. So it's called the choice. Choose a number between 1 and 5. Now that you have that number, multiply that number by 9. If your number is one-digit number, simply remember it. If it's 2 digits, add those 2 digits together. Subtract 5 from the number, and this is your final number. Your final number. Now, we're going to translate that number into a letter. So if your final number was 1A, 2B, 3C, 4D, 5E, 6F. So pick the letter that it is. So for instance, my number was 5. We'll say 5. 9 times 5 is 45. So 4 and 5, that equals 9. And now I'm going to subtract 5 from that. That equals 4. So my letter would be D. Now here's your choice. Pick a country that starts with that letter. Take the last letter of your country and think of an animal that begins with that letter. Using the last letter of that animal you chose, think of a color. Dun, dun, dun. 80% of us listening to this will have chosen an orange kangaroo from Denmark. So if you did, you're in that 80 percentile, which is absolutely okay, because this was just a slight demonstration of how choices can lead our perspective and thoughts, can lead us into making certain decisions about things. Because as we start back, the whole thing started with choosing a number between 1 to 5. Well, guess what? If I choose 1, multiply that by 9, I end up with a 9, so I keep it. If I choose 2, it's 18. 1 plus 8 is 9. If I choose 3, it's 27. 2 plus 7 is 9. So we had an illusion of choice, and every time we multiplied it by 9, we came up with something that would, when added together, would equal 9. So when we added our 2 digits together, it equaled 9. When we subtract 5 from it, no matter what number you chose, we ended up with D. And when we end up with D, that Denmark is the most chosen country with the letter D. There's several others. I think Dominican Republic is one. There's a few other countries, but Denmark is the most well-known country with D in it. And K, I think koala starts with a K, but kangaroo is the most thought of animal with a K, and then O at the end. I don't know many other colors that start with O except for orange. Orange is the most popular. There's probably others, but I don't even know. So that's how people use choices to manipulate where we end up. So we have to think about that. That's why I challenged us way back here. Where is your focus? So let's look from a fresh perspective on no matter what the thing is. Take time to pull back and focus on, place your attention. Do you want to find solutions where you want it to be? So I just think it's a great way to know that, okay, even when we don't realize it, things can be pushing our attention and our focus in one way. So if something is pushing our attention in a certain direction, pull back and look at the other directions. Where should my focus be to do what's best? So, and that is also part of operant conditioning, because operant conditioning, we're creating habits. So as we pull back and look, we're going to create further habits as well. And we're going to see where to place our focus. So I hope you had fun with this week, and I look forward to being in the discussions.